What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer, and I'm going to go ahead and give you guys this deck profile I have for this Monarch Eldritch deck that I showed you guys. And if you're catching this video first, you guys can go ahead and go on my channel. I did a gameplay video on it. It's just a different variant of Monarch, obviously. I think it's a little more explosive in theory, and the thing with regular Monarchs is they're okay. You know, they have these tons of monsters that do these kind of pretty decent things for the most part, but it always felt like it was lacking a punch, something to take it a little further, like interaction during your opponent's turn that came not in the form of tribute summoning during their turn. You know, just something a little more. And I guess you could supplement some cards like, I don't know, Solemn Judgment or whatever, or Hand Traps maybe, but you get a lot more advantage off these Eldritch cards. So this is my favorite version of not Eldritch, but of Monarch. So we'll go ahead and I'll try to explain some of my ratios and all that kind of stuff as we go along here. The three Ether, it's just really important for getting this bad boy, Dazzling Lunar Dragon, which I think is actually called, I don't know, Celiglare, the Luminous Lunar Dragon, whatever. It helps. It's great interaction during your opponent's turn, or just having it on the field, tribute summoning it is great. And plus the attack stats totally line up with tenacity and all that kind of good stuff. So that's the reason for that. Caius, banishing 2 cards on the field is never a bad thing. And then we all know Erebus is great for, chucking something out of your opponent's hand if you're going first. It's really good to do that. And I do have 1 copy of Vanity's Ruler, which prevents your opponent from special summoning, which is really cool. My feelings on Dragonoid Generator are very well documented. I think it's an incredible card for any tribute summon deck, especially when it comes to Egyptian god decks and all that kind of good stuff. So always a fan of that. 3 Pantheism, obviously. 2 Tenacity because your monster count's a little lower. So you kind of see it exactly when you want to, I feel like, at this ratio. And the Monarch Stormforth is a great piece of interaction, and you can search it out if you really, really need to. It's really not something you want to see too much because you have so many other cards in your deck, especially on the Eldritch stuff. So in my experience, this is great. If you need it, you can always get it with Pantheism. Like it's always accessible. The Monarch's Erupt, which is really important, obviously, to have in your deck at all times. I think I've mentioned this before, but a lot of people will play just the Domain. They will not play the Monarch's Erupt, and to that, it just doesn't make sense. Theoretically, if you're putting your opponent out of the extra deck, you can add 3 forms of interaction or something, but negating everything, think of Salamangreats, which have these great monster effects that can get rid of Domain, and it's a total killer, man, when you have these 2 on the field together. That's the win condition, not just Domain lock. So that's how I feel about that. I only run 2 Eldritch. I never need more than 1 copy. I mean, there's so many different ways to search it and get it to your hand, man. I used to run 3, but I'd rather add a little more consistency than do that. So that's the reason for 2 Eldritch. I think there may be other Eldritch decks that do that anyways. Here's 2 Conquistador, 2 Backrow. Again, this is that interaction I was talking about, which is rare and unique, which is cool. Golden Land Forever. This is something that's really cool, actually. In place of a Solemn Judgment, you have a Omni Negate, and plus, if you have Eldritch on the field, you can tribute one of the a Conquistador or a Backrow and negate it, and still have your tribute summoned Eldritch on the field. So I'm a huge fan of that. And obviously Elixir searches everything and also special summons Eldritch from the deck, which is insane. 2 Prime Monarch, that's for all your, obviously Pantheism, but it's really good for tribute summoning just in general. And to help with a little bit of the consistency of the deck, I added 2 Magician Souls to go along with the Mystical Beast Jackal King. And I know that's random, and most people do Dark Magician, obviously. But the reason I do Mythical Beast Jackal King is if it's very niche interaction, but still, theoretically, you do have a lot of spells in your deck, so you can actually tribute summon. It's very easy to get 1 monster on the field. I mean, there's an infinite number of ways. Stormforth, Dragonoid, the Prime. It's only level 5, or 6, but it only requires 1 tribute, which is great. So you can tribute summon this theoretically, activate the Cursed Eldland, or activate Pantheism or Tenacity, all that kind of stuff. It'd be great if it was the defense was a little different, so it could be used with tenacity, but it doesn't. But that's not that important. It's just in case you draw it, you kind of have, it's not the most dead card in your hand ever. I mean, maybe you'll get a monster negate out of it. The cool thing about Monarchs, obviously, there's no extra deck, there's no side, and hopefully, I mean, it's still not confirmed, I don't think, but yeah, as I mentioned before, Eldritch is probably getting that reprint in the Maximum Gold series. That'll be like its top seller, and if it's accessible or not too hard to pull, this would be a fun little deck. I'm sure I would buy, because all the other cards are really cheap, especially Eldritch has been around forever. That Pantheism went up to like $4 after the ban list, but it looks like it's back down, and maybe I'll do a market watch video for you guys. But that's going to basically do it for this deck profile. It's pretty straightforward. There really isn't much room for side decking. Like, this is kind of what you get with the deck, so maybe you side out Eldritch and put in a bunch of other cards. I don't know, but in my mind, this is a pretty set in stone. Like, you're hoping to win with this right here. Looking forward to the channel. I'll do another deck profile pretty soon here with the Egyptian God one. I know some of you guys are asking for that. I have a few other side projects I'm going to do. Lots of cool little retro gaming stuff. I'm a huge into that. So, you know, my dream ultimately is to be a more holistic channel in terms of the content I bring you. But for the meantime, obviously, I'm having a ton of fun with Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's what it's all about. Leave a comment, guys, if you're looking forward to anything or you have any suggestions. I'm totally cool with that kind of stuff. But other than that, guys, that's going to do it for today, and I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day.